in downtown Shiner, and this is the road that goes to Gonzales. And this is where First National Bank is today. This is a two-story brick building, which William Greenwood put up about 1911. But this bank building in 1894 was not a brick building. It was a wooden frame building like that housed A.G. Wangeman's General Store. And in 1894, on a Sunday night or Sunday morning about 2 a.m., something happened in the A.G. Wangeman General Store that changed this entire downtown forever. Get out to the implements yet, I'll finish the story.
Okay.
Ready. On a November night in 1894, the safe sat in the A.G. Wangeman General Store, which is where First National Bank is today. And at about 2 o'clock on a Sunday morning, at about 2 o'clock in downtown Shiner on that Sunday morning in November 1894, there was a loud explosion when thieves and robbers broke into the store, laid a stick of dynamite right here on this hinge. They lit it and hid, and when it blew the hinge off and the door just fell open. They thought they were going to be in for easy pickings, but there was an inner vault that was controlled with a key, so they could not get into the inner vault. At that point, you blow up a stick of dynamite in a small sleepy town at 2 a.m., everybody comes running. So the robbers set fire to the store and to cover their escape and made their escape. They were never caught. The volunteer fire department, which had started in 1893, beg your pardon, came and had the fire under control until some of the sparks hit the powder room. Your general stores carried black powder for loading shotgun shells as well as blowing up stumps. And when those sparks hit that powder room, the whole building exploded. And set all of that downtown block that the bank is on fire. And the firemen, no firemen were killed, nobody was injured in the explosion, thank God. But if the winds had been coming out of the south like they usually do today in 2020, and they had been coming out of the south, that whole downtown area on both sides of Highway 90 and Avenue E could have caught fire. So the significance of that is that after 1894 and the fire, all the buildings in downtown Shiner would be made of brick. They are made of brick except one building, which is across from the old Gazette office by Lama's Furniture Store. That building dates to 1890, so it's still one that's still there. That's the only one structure really in downtown Shiner to this day as far as a business. The next morning, don't worry about that. The next morning when they opened it up, Mr. Wangeman came with his key, opened the inner vault, and thank God, because the fire insurance policy was in there intact, as well as about $5 in change. So the robbers probably wouldn't have gotten much for their efforts, but at least he was able to rebuild his store and start over. And again, the significance of that is all of downtown Shiner was changed because all the buildings would be brick, because you could get a better rate on fire insurance if you could have something that would withstand a fire. Now, I want to tell you two more interesting stories. In February 1894, about 6 months earlier, I found an article in the Shiner Gazette. It's in the museum if you want to see it. And it talks about a similar crime happened in High Hill, Texas, which is near Schulenburg. And before the railroad came through Schulenburg, everybody lived in High Hill. And at High Hill, they had a general store, a church, several drugstores, several saloons. But on a night in 1893 in February, robbers with the same MO committed a similar crime. And what they did was they broke into the general store at about 2 o'clock in the morning, on a Sunday morning again, and blew off the door of the safe. This time they did get money for it. I'm not sure how much, but they did get money because there was no inner vault. And they made their escape the same way. They set the store on fire to cover their escape. They did get money in the High Hill robbery, but it has the same MO. A Sunday morning, 2 a.m. in the morning, blow off the door of the safe, rob the safe, and then set the store on fire to cover your escape. Now, High Hill, as the crow flies from here, is only about 30 to 35 miles, so we think that this was the same group of robbers We can't prove it, but we're looking into it. The last thing I'd like to tell you is we made the national news. This is the Oakland Tribune in Oakland, California on November 24th, 1894. And it says here, robbers, a town taken by storm. Remarkable exploit in Texas. They burn the town and take control of the stores. They loot the town and leave the place in flames. And basically, that's the story of why this had such significance. I will finish by saying the next morning, with the safe damage like this and so heavy, all they did was pushed it off what was left of the wooden floor, and the new bank in 1900, which is still the current building it's in, was built over it. In about 1969, they were remodeling the bank, and when Irma Kubitschek called her son Doug, who is the chair of the Lavaca County Historical Commission, said, "Doug, you got to see this." So Doug came from Victoria College, where he was studying, and this was still under the bank in 1969, and they had to cut a hole in the floor to redo the plumbing and add restrooms to the bank. And of course, with that, they got showpiece stuff because Winstruck winched it out and bought it here, and it's been here ever since.
Great story.